Hello, my name is Mitchell Horwitz. I'm from Duke University Medical Center in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm here to talk about Omidubicel. Omidubicel is a cell product manufactured from a single umbilical cord blood graft. The Omidubicel graft is an ex vivo expanded umbilical cord blood graft that is designed to address the primary limitations of umbilical cord blood transplantation. These limitations are a consequence of the small cell dose of an umbilical cord blood graft. And that led to the invention by Toni Peled of Omidubicel many years ago. And she began a company called Omidubicel, which has been developing Omidubicel for approximately 10 years. The goal of Omidubicel is to reduce the risk of umbilical cord blood transplantation, specifically to reduce the time to neutrophil engraftment and hopefully improve the outcomes of umbilical cord blood transplantation compared to what is now a standard umbilical cord blood graft for adults, typically 2 cord blood units, but in many cases a single cord blood unit. The early phase studies of Omidubicel demonstrated that this ex vivo expanded graft can provide long-term hematopoietic recovery in patients now who have been followed for over 10 years. And in addition, the hematopoietic recovery in early phase studies looked to be approximately 10 days and sometimes greater, 10 days faster than what one would see after a standard umbilical cord blood transplantation. And that led to a randomized phase 3 study started approximately 2 years ago to address the question of how Omidubicel, or if Omidubicel can improve the outcomes of adult adult cord blood transplantation compared to a standard umbilical cord blood graft. And this phase 3 study met the primary endpoint, which was time to neutrophil recovery. This is the most vulnerable time after a stem cell transplant, and that is the time it takes for neutrophils to recover and provide the recipient with an ability to fight infections. The reduction in the time to neutrophil engraftment the time to neutrophil engraftment after a standard umbilical cord blood graft was 22 days. The time to neutrophil recovery after an Omidubicel transplant was 12 days. And that 10-day reduction in time translated into significant clinical benefit for the recipients, as demonstrated by a reduced risk of bacterial, fungal, and viral infections, reduced time spent in the hospital, and reduced time to platelet recovery as well. So we believe, based on these very exciting findings, comparing Omidubicel to standard umbilical cord blood transplantation, that Omidubicel could represent a new standard of care for patients in need of umbilical cord blood transplantation. And the results are exciting and so promising that we believe it might even be a preferable graft source in patients who might even have a available matched donor or mismatched family member donor. But these assessments need to be considered in future trials.